So we do need to talk about the NFL.
So, yeah, we got to talk about all this crazy stuff going on with free agency at the moment, which I have seen so many free agency periods. I've never seen anything like this.
Never like this.
It's insane.
And my phone is exploding.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane.
I love
so,
this.
Which one of our teams do we want to talk about first?
Let's talk about your Bears, because I can't... My Bills might be an on-ramp to the Marvels. Let's put it that way.
Oh, really?
I'm not happy. I'm not happy, Sean.
So the big thing that happened yesterday, which was something that everyone's been waiting for, which is what are they going to do with Justin Fields? Because they have the first pick of the first round, so they know they're going to draft
Probably
Caleb
they have a
Williams.
chance to get a quarterback, start over on the whole contract line.
Exactly.
The whole thing.
Which... I don't know how I feel about this because I love Justin Fields, and I think he got a bad rap. I think, you throw a guy into a terrible head coach, bad offensive coordinators. They get rotated. I think in his 3 years, he went through 3 different offensive coordinators,
right.
2 different head coaches.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, and he had no talent up until this year when they got DJ Moore. And now they bring in Keenan Allen and Swift from Philadelphia, and they have the 9th pick, which they said they might draft another tight end to go with Cole Kmet, and you're like, where the fuck was this for Justin?
Yeah.
They brought in a bunch of offensive linemen. Their defense. They're signing these studs. They're setting the team up, and it's like, now you can go be the fucking backup to Russell Wilson for.
I don't understand. Like, we're gonna get to that because that is another thing that I just fully do not understand. But I like Justin Fields. I like that Justin Fields brought personality to the Bears. At a quarterback position, something that has never been heard of. I was trying to think of who is he the best quarterback since. He's better than Cutler. He's better than Grossman. He's better than McMahon. Like, he is by far a much more talented than any quarterback you've had in 30 years. And they got rid of him for nothing. Yeah. Like, it's one thing if you're going to get rid of him, right? He was like the number 6 overall pick. There's got to be some value there. We've seen that he has value when he's healthy. So it's just a question of how healthy is he going to be. The last few years, he's been on and off, but mostly healthy for the most part. On top of everything, he has some intrinsic value.
Yes.
Definitely. They gave him up for a 6th round pick that might turn into a 4th, maybe. But, like...
Here's the only thing with that.
That's nothing!
Here's the only thing with that. And this is... If this is true, I give a lot of credit to the GM of the Bears. He had said from start one, and he talked about this at the Combine too, he goes, we will do right by Justin. He goes, it's not fair what has happened with him and the situation he's in, so if we do move on for him, we will do right by him. I think he saw what limited opportunities they had now that the quarterback market is pretty much in free agency been taken care of, that he knew... no team was going to give them a ton. And so he sent them to the team that I think he knows Justin has the best opportunity with.
But does he? He
does. If you look at him, Pittsburgh last year, they won 10 games. They made it to the playoffs on the worst quarterback play known to man. They have a solid their defense is one of the best in the league. They have a good offensive line. They have a great running back. And now it's a situation where it's like Russell Wilson is here on a 1-year deal. Justin, if he can sit behind Wilson for a year, because the only things Justin has issues with is kind of reading the field and getting that feel, which he's never had anyone to teach him that. If he can swallow his pride for a year and be like, let me learn behind Russell Wilson, you know damn well the Steelers are like, we love what Justin Fields can give us. So if we have him learn from Russell Wilson and a year later say, Russell, peace fuck out, man. We had you for a year. Take care. Go find out whatever you want. And Justin Fields gets signed as their starter.
See, here's the thing. I have 2 thoughts on this. One, the Steelers are one of the most loyal franchises in sports. Loyal. Not in the NFL. In all sports. Yes. To the degree where they've had 3 coaches since World War II.
Yeah.
They are an incredibly loyal organization. They do not fire people. They do not move on from people lightly. This is a prove-it deal for Russell Wilson.
Yes.
If Russell Wilson plays well on this deal, he's going to get another one. This is the Steelers. They're not just going to have him walk. And they're getting him for free this year because the Broncos are playing 90% of his salary. You get Justin Fields. This is my second thought. The old adage in the NFL. How many quarterbacks do you have if you have 2 quarterbacks? You have no quarterbacks.
Yeah.
because, and what did we see all last year from the Steelers? Flip-flopping on quarterbacks the entire season, not being able to decide how they wanted to go about it, having an offense that had no direction. I don't know that they've hired an offensive coordinator that has a new direction that he's going to coast this whole team through.
I don't know, but I think it's a different situation, though.
I don't know.
Because last year you had two not good quarterbacks. Here you have I don't know anymore, but for a while, a potential Hall of Famer and a young quarterback with far more promise than anything they had last year.
I'm just saying you're going to get into a situation where if Russell Wilson plays extremely well, the Steelers are going to trade Justin Fields. If Russell Wilson doesn't play extremely well, the fans are going to call for Justin Fields. If Justin Fields doesn't play very well, you're going to have this flip-flop back and forth like you had between Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky all last season of like, okay, but who's hot today? And like, I just look at it. It makes no sense to me for the Steelers to have picked him up after picking up Russell Wilson. If they hadn't picked up Russell Wilson, of course you take Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick. Are you fucking kidding? Of course you do that. But you just picked up Russell Wilson. I know that he's on shaky ground. You're not sure if he's going to be great, but you're basically inviting quarterback controversy into your locker room.
You also you just said it. I don't think they could have passed him up on the fact that they have two quarterbacks and they're paying them a total of $4 million this year. It's like, that's a nice problem
That's
to
a
have
really good.
also.
No, it's true. I just wonder if it's going to end up being more of a problem than a solution.
Well, I hope Fields, and I love Justin Fields, and I want him to be successful in this league, and I wanted him to stay a Bear. Like I've heard.
I wanted him to stay in the NFC. I didn't want him coming
into.
I already have enough problems in my division.
Well, that's true,
I don't or conference. I don't need any more fucking headaches.
I hope he can swallow his pride enough that even if Wilson does good, and they're like, hey, we're going to sign him to like another 2-year contract, because Russell's 35, 36, I think, this year.
Yeah.
So on a 1 year, sign him for 2 more years. Justin's only 25. If it's like, dude, we understand you want to be a starter. If you could be Russell's backup and learn for him for 3 years, 28, I think Steve Young, that's around the age that he took over for the Niners, and be like, if you can learn how to be with your skill set that you already have, to be this awesome quarterback, just take the lessons and learn.
Yeah.
Because your career already got screwed over by the Bears. Try to resurrect it, but don't do it by throwing yourself out there when you're not 100% ready yet.
Yeah.
You know
we'll see.
I mean?
We'll see. I think it's just very curious all the way around.
But I mean,
expected.
I'm happy for the Bears, except for the fact that once again, I'm not sold on Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like they have built a literal monster of a team, and it's just, is the quarterback going to be the right piece?
And are you going to do what you did with Justin Fields, which didn't work, where you put him out there game one?
Oh, they're going to put him out there game one.
And you just try and hope that it works out. You know, sometimes you get C.J. Stroud last year for the Texans, and it works out for the most part. And then other times you get what happened to the Panthers last year, and it just doesn't really work out.
The problem with the Bears, and it's always been the problem, once again, the final play of the year when it was 4th and 22, they threw a screen pass.
Yeah.
That's what the Bears do. If you have a quarterback like Caleb Williams or Bo Nix or any of these young guys coming out, the problem they did with Justin Fields is they said, you can't throw it more than 5 yards.
Yeah.
And if you need to run, you can run. The thing with C.J. Stroud last year is like, fucking throw it 50 yards if you need to.
Do whatever you got to do.
That's what they need to do with this guy. They need to right off the bat say, listen, if you throw 40 touchdowns and 25 picks, we're okay with it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have been using the description of what whoever this quarterback's going to be walking into, what Andrew Luck walked into.
Yeah.
And if you remember, everyone has these glowing things about Luck, and same with like Peyton Manning. Their first years, they threw 20 to 30 interceptions.
Terrible
And
years.
it's like, but you have to let him go.
Yeah.
You have to let, and that's what they did with C.J. Stroud. It worked out better than anyone in history with him only throwing 5 picks.
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to take the wheels off right away and say, if you need to make a throw, fucking make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm very curious to see how this goes.
I mean, they have I'm sorry, that's the best 1-2 wide receiver punch in the NFL right now with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Fuck it, yeah.
And then you still have Komet at the tight end.
Komet in the tight end. You have Swift in the
coming out of the
backfield.
backfield.
And God, I don't know if they lost all their other running backs, but they had a solid running game last year.
Yeah.
But like all the defensive pieces they've re-signed, and
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I will never get overexcited being a Bears fan going into a season because I've had my heart broken for 30 plus fucking years now. But I mean, if they can't win with this team they put together, they're fucked.
No, seriously.
Because you put together a juggernaut, dude.
We thought that they looked good on paper last year. This year they look even better on paper, and you're just like, so what are you gonna do?
And like you look at the rest of their division, Minnesota. I mean, they lose Kirk Cousins. Jefferson wants to leave because they brought in Sam Darnold, and you're like,
Sam Darnold is not.
They
Kirk
haven't
Cousins,
made any
and
improvements
that doesn't
there.
say anything about Sam Darnold.
And who knows what the Packers are going to be? They did get rid of.
They got rid of their
running back, and they brought in fucking Jacobs from the Raiders.
Aaron Jones for Josh Jacobs.
Which, I mean, who knows how that's going to end up being. They lose David Bakhtiari. By lose, I mean they cut David Bakhtiari, who's been their number one offensive lineman for fucking ever. I know he's kind of old now.
Oh, the cuts this year, man. The cuts are what are making me amazed. Cuts. Is that it's not just that teams are getting rid of dead weight. It's that they are cutting players that you'd think they would be able to find value for.
Yeah.
And they're not taking the value for the players. They're just cutting them. They're just saying, nope, we too much trouble. Get it out. We don't need anything in return. Just get it out of here. Don't need picks. Don't need nothing. I was shocked that Justin Fields went for a 6th-round pick. There are a lot of players that I have seen that just got full cut that I'm like, you couldn't get a 7th?
Yeah.
You couldn't get any value?
It makes you see how fucked up teams have been with their salary caps. Where like they didn't have the option of waiting because what is it? It's like I think the time might have passed.
Yeah.
It was like March 15th or something that the new year started, and that's when you needed to get rid of this.
You have to be under a certain point by this time.
They didn't have a choice.
No, exactly. We're gonna get to the Bills in a minute. I'm still not quite mentally.
I got to bring up quite possibly the biggest move in this whole offseason was Aaron Donald retiring.
I just saw that. Yeah, that was crazy.
And the best was Kyler Murray's response on X was, thank God. Because he got sacked by him, and he put a picture of Darnold like grabbing the back of his neck. And it's like, I still can't believe. I mean, good for him, man. 10 years, and he's like, I'm done.
It's weird. Tom Brady has thrown off the entire perception of what a Hall of Fame career looks like.
Yeah, because he has 3 Hall of Fame careers.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And so you look at someone like Donald.
Yeah.
And he has 1 championship. He has a few DPOIs. He has
3.
He has a bunch of all pros and Pro Bowl, although the Pro Bowl doesn't mean fucking anything anymore. Fucking Sam Darnold was a Pro Bowler. Fucking Gardner Minshew was a Pro Bowler.
Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler.
It means nothing. It means nothing. We should go to like 3rd team Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
like that should be the distinction. The same way that we have 1st team All Pro, 2nd team All Pro. You are a 1st team Pro Bowler. You are a 5th team Pro Bowler. You may have started in the Pro Bowl, but that's because 10 people said they don't want to do it. So what does that really mean about you?
Yeah.
This is a advertising option, not anything else.
What you were saying, that he was 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, but I believe every other season than one, maybe, he was in the top 5 in voting.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck.
So it's like, but it's just weird because you're like, oh, but he only got 1 championship. And it's like, but for so long, even just 1 championship meant so much in the NFL. And it wasn't until the Patriots came along and just ruined that water. Of just like, no, now it doesn't matter unless you have fucking 6.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have 6, you're not trying. Patrick Mahomes has 3, and people are still like, oh, he only has 3? Whatever.
Yeah.
Not great, not amazing as fucking Brady. And it's just like, because he's not. Because Brady has fucking 7.
Yeah.
Because who the fuck has 7?
Over a 21-year span.
The Steelers as an organization, one of the most successful organizations in professional football, have 5.
Yeah.
In their entire... I hate Brady.
I know you do. I know you do.
I hate Brady so much.
I can see the hate in your eyes as you're speaking.
It just ruins everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, like even Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
He retired this year with the 1 ring, which... Did you see the interview he did with Shaq?
No.
Right before he retired, he did an interview with Shaquille O'Neal, and Shaquille said to him, he goes... What about retirement? And Kelsey said, well, I'm still thinking about it. He goes, you need to retire. He goes, I held on too long, and I go home now to an empty house. He goes, you have a beautiful family. You got your ring, right? He's like, yeah. He goes, fucking retire.
Yeah.
And he retired the week after that interview.
And you know what happened after that?
They signed
Saquon Barkley came to town,
Barkley,
and Jason Kelsey was like,
Pickett is their backup.
What the fuck?
But
I just left.
Luckily, he said he's staying retired.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that's another thing is... You have the Brady where you have a guy that, he lasted 21 seasons and he was successful all the way to the last season, still made the playoffs. But the problem is the guys that hang on, 99% hang on way too long.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
that's why I give Aaron Donald credit. You're like, you are the number one. It's like Seinfeld. He's going out number one in the ratings.
Ask Minnesota how they felt about Brett Favre's tenure. Started real high. Didn't end real high.
No.
Didn't end real great. Ask Jet fans how they feel about Brett Favre's tenure. That didn't even start real high. That just started out like here, and then it went down real fast.
Yeah.
Just like so many quarterbacks that when they're on their second or third team, that's the kiss of death. That's how you know that they're no longer worth anything.
Absolutely.
And then you have fucking Brady just comes along. It's like, no, I can fucking boo forever.
He's like LeBron though, to where there's no one in this league or in any league that takes care of their body remotely as good as he does.
No.
And it's like, that's the thing.
I've never
there.
seen someone look emaciated and healthy at the same time, but Tom Brady somehow looks both emaciated and healthy at the same time.
Like crazy health. Like anyone that met him said he was one of the strongest human. Like just looking at him, like he looks like a fucking Adonis.
Yeah.
But it's because instead of going out and doing all the things, he put his money into his body.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there you go. Same with LeBron. Like everyone's like, oh, well, LeBron's better than Jordan. He's not better than him. He just lasted longer because he took care of himself. Where Jordan would go out gambling and playing golf. LeBron was doing like ice plunges and sauna and working out. It's like, it's different, dude.
And it's crazy to think that someone has an even bigger work ethic than Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan was renowned for his work ethic.
Oh, well, fucking Kobe Bryant. You ask anyone.
Kobe Bryant has the greatest work ethic in NBA history.
By far.
Yeah. No, while we're in the NFC East, talking about the Eagles, let's go down the Parkway a little bit, and we'll talk about the Commanders, the would-be racists, once racist, I guess now reformed racists.
Yeah.
Without Dan Snyder or any of their usual nonsense, this is their first clean season in over 30 years of just like not having any nonsense coming into it. They've made a lot of really big moves, which are to basically go to Dallas and take a bunch of apples off their tree.
I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about the Commanders.
I will believe it when I see it. They got Dan Quinn as a coach.
Yes.
Which, like, okay, all right. He was a pretty decent coach. He also had that one kind of big deal loss. You may have heard of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Kind of comes up in football annals every once in a while. 28-3, kind of maybe colloquially, you know. So I'm curious. I don't believe that they'll do it for a number of reasons. One, they still play at FedEx Field, which is arguably the worst field in the NFL, which is saying something considering MetLife is right up the road and also terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting. They have this great roster. How many of those players are actually going to make it to the end of the season instead of, you know, getting injured in one of the 9 games that they're going to play in this terrible stadium, which is literally falling apart at the seams. I don't know that this is actually going to work. I know that they brought in new quarterback life and everything.
Well, that's the thing. They got rid of Howell and they brought in Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
They are drafting a quarterback, but it's like, unless that quarterback's going to start day one, is Marcus and I like Marcus Mariota, but he's just not a starting quarterback. He's a good backup quarterback.
He's a passable backup quarterback.
Well, yeah.
I guess that does make him good.
He's pass and he's a quarterback.
I guess that makes him good. If you don't screw up, then you're a good backup quarterback.
Yeah.
You just have to not be bad to be a good backup quarterback.
But it's like right now he's their guy until they draft somebody. It's like I do like Bobby Wagner. That's a mess. I mean, he's in his 13th season.
Old.
He's old. But if he could be a leadership thing for younger guys, you know.
I'm taken back to who was it? It was the other Seahawk who went from Seattle to Baltimore. I can't remember his name. It was the safety. And Earl Thomas. And it was going to be this big deal. He was in Baltimore. He was going to reshape the Baltimore defense. He was going to bring this new leadership and culture to the Baltimore locker room. And his season ended with him flipping off the fans as he got carted off the field because they were booing that he got carted off the field. And, he didn't stay in Baltimore very long. So we'll see how that works.
We're not going to bring up Von Miller.
Oh my God!
Because that's another old man signing that worked for half a season, and then it's.
I'm just like we should just talk about it. We'll rip the band.
Well, no, we gotta before like you said, that's got to lead us into potentially either nothing or something. We need to bring up Dallas.
Yes. The one who had their orchard cherry picked.
They have done nothing.
Nothing.
What are they doing?
They're just cutting people and letting people walk and doing nothing to
They're
refill
not
the larders.
anybody in.
Nothing. It's incredible. It's like I was sitting there talking to my buddy, and he was just like, I was complaining about the Bills and everything that they've done. And he's like, at least you're signing people. At least people are coming back in the door. Nothing's happening. People are just leaving en masse. Nothing's being done. And they cut a bunch of people yesterday again. It's just crazy to me. I'm very curious to see how all this runs out. But it's not like, I mean, the Cowboys, their thing last year was not being authentic. People thought they were fakers. People thought that they didn't actually have it in the tank, which, not for nothing, they kind of didn't. And I don't see how this is going to help. This seems like it's not going to do anything to help that.
But I don't get why, like, you have the money.
Yeah.
How does a players like Keenan Allen and all of the running backs that got signed to different teams, how do you not go after any of them?
Yeah.
And you got rid of Gallup, who was your number 2 receiver behind CeeDee Lamb. It's like, who do you have now?
You got rid of Pollard. Pollard's gone.
Pollard's gone.
You got rid of Zeke because Pollard was going to be your future, and then you got rid of Pollard. So what is your plan? What is your plan? I understand that this is the running back class is having the full boomerang from where it used to be, where running back was the most important member of the team, and if your running back got hurt, you were fucked. To we'll go get another one. That's the running thing for running backs right now. Is like, they're not great. We'll go get another one. Oh, they are great. We'll go get another one so we don't have to pay this one.
Which a lot of people blame the drop in value of running backs to the Zeke contract.
Yeah.
Because after that is when fucking running backs went downhill. Because they're like, we're not doing that.
Well, and like the idea that you can easily get another running back that's almost as good as, unless it's like a Hall of Fame running back, like a Derrick Henry type. We'll get to him too. He's got a new home.
I still don't understand how Derrick Henry wasn't.
How was he not picked up by? I mean, like Baltimore. That's going to be a nightmare.
Oh, they're going to be unstoppable.
Do you want to just get pounded one way, or do you want to get pounded the other way? Because you're going to get pounded. The end of the day, you're going to get a pounding on two sides. Which one do you want to start on?
Well, they can't choke like they did last year against the Chiefs.
Well, this is always the thing, isn't it? This is always the thing. But for Dallas, I just look at them and I'm like, I don't know that this is going to be great for you guys. I have the same for the Giants. I look at what the Giants are doing. I'm like,
not doing shit.
You guys are fucked. You guys are fucked. That whole
division, the only team that is standing out now is the Eagles.
Yeah.
And once again, they needed a solid backup. And say what you want about Kenny Pickett, everyone still says he has like this huge ceiling of possibility. If working in that organization and behind Jalen Hurts can help him at all get better, then if Jalen Hurts goes down again, you at least have a solid backup, which you haven't had in a very long fucking time. Thank you, Marcus Mariota, who's now on the fucking Commanders.
That was another surprise to me, was that the Pittsburgh Steelers got rid of Kenny Pickett, who went to Pitt College and was a Pittsburgh boy.
Last year when he was benched, he threw a little fit and didn't dress. And they said the second they found out they were getting Russell Wilson, he threw a fit and said he wanted out. And they were like, fuck you. Fine. We're not going to keep a baby.
Get out of here.
Because he was just acting like a baby. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
We don't have space for that. So I don't feel bad about his personality.
He has come off as a baby to me on many occasions. I always go back to his fake slide. What kind of asshole fake slides?
Yeah.
I know people were criticizing Josh for almost fake sliding. That was a hesitancy to read
Josh
the field.
Josh doesn't slide. That's the difference.
My issue is that Josh doesn't slide.
Yeah.
Pickett's fake slide is one of, like, I almost call it a dirty play.
Yeah.
It's right in that line of pretty much being a dirty play.
No, I agree with you.
And
he
so
sucks,
I have no love lost for Kenny Pickett. No, I look at the Texans. The Texans are another team that are just building parts. They're just taking on players from everybody and building some very interesting looking parts. We're going to see how they come out next year. I don't know about the Colts. I don't know about the Jaguars. The Jaguars seem to be building something, but it's like when you're watching your neighbor build something, you're like, what the fuck is it? I thought it was a barbecue, and now it looks like a go-kart. I don't know what the fuck this thing is.
They're losing some of their big like offensive pieces, and they're bringing in Mac Jones as the backup, which is like, I have nothing against Mac Jones. Once again, I think the Patriots did to him what the Bears did to Justin Fields and completely fucked him up.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully he has a new life, but it's like, That's your big free agency pickup right now is Mac Jones?
I want the 30. Well, and Gabe Davis. Don't forget, they got Big Game Gabe,
Yeah.
who last I saw was on the side of a milk carton because he wasn't doing anything for us.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where he went.
I don't count that.
Yeah. Him and Leonard Fournette had about as much impact on our season last year as each other.
I give Leonard Fournette a pass just because he was brought in late.
I don't, because he never made the fucking team because he couldn't get in shape to play football in Buffalo.
He's fat.
That's not an excuse.
But Gabe Davis was part of the team. He was an integral part of the team.
This is even more so why I'm annoyed at him.
Yeah.
You don't want to be compared to Leonard Fournette.
No,
That's
not at
bad.
all. Not at all.
Anyway, I'm very curious about a lot of these teams. Denver, I really hope is terrible next year. I hope they are terrible.
Bomb.
Denver is one of those teams that I don't usually have anything against, but I just want them to be so bad.
And as much as I think he's a overly religious douchebag, I am rooting hardcore for Russell Wilson to win a championship just to go to Sean Payton and be like, obviously it wasn't me, you prick.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
I want to see the Broncos be terrible. I want to see the Chargers actually be good. They brought in Harbaugh.
I think they're going to be good. Even though they're losing Keenan Allen. I don't.
It's gonna be.
And
they got rid of Mike Williams.
And Mike Williams. Did you see the interview with Keenan Allen when he was signed with the Bears?
No.
They said, one of the reporters at the press conference asked him, "We know you were talking with the Chargers and they were asking you to restructure your contract," and he's like, "I just came off of my best year ever. I'm not fucking restructuring my contract." Yeah. He goes, "I had the best year of my career and they're asking me to take less money." He's like, "No."
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you ask? He was so unstoppable. He was on my fantasy team, and when he was playing in a game that they were not throwing the ball to the other team, he was fucking unstoppable. Yeah. He had huge games, and it's like, why would you let him go?
Yeah. No, and especially if you're going to get rid of Mike Williams, too, and Austin Eckler. That's 3 of their guns gone.
Gone.
And they don't have anybody. They don't have an Antonio Gates at tight end right now.
And they haven't picked up anybody.
No. So what's your plan?
Do you have...
Are you just going to draft? Is your whole plan to draft a whole new offense together, and that's your
The
whole
only
plan?
thing I could think of is Harbaugh is leaning on the fact that he's been recruiting for college for the last, 10 years?
Something like that, yeah.
He knows probably everyone in that draft better than any recruit, scout, anyone. And he's like, I know I can get these people in this draft.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all works out. The Chiefs get richer. We don't need to talk about the Chiefs getting richer.
I don't fucking hate the Chiefs. And to me, I don't think they're... I'm still looking forward to... And somebody brought this up the other day when they were talking about Hollywood Brown being picked up to replace Valdez-Scantling. If you look at that season last year, the only reason they won that Super Bowl was Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Anytime, once again, he is Mahomes' only security blanket right now.
He was the only reason they were relevant all season.
Yes.
Was Kelce and his girlfriend.
And last year, he showed signs of decline with his age. What is he going to be this year? And I want to see Mahomes, like all these comparisons they do with Mahomes and Brady. Brady played with interchanging parts constantly.
All the time.
Constantly. And people that no one fucking wanted, or people who were drafted like Julius Edelman as a quarterback, drafted to special teams. He was quarterback in college, drafted to special teams, didn't think he was going to play. He might have made him a fucking Hall of Famer.
I remember when Wes Welker was that really annoying punt returner in Miami.
Yes.
That was a pain in the ass.
And then
that was all he did. He was
didn't
just
really
a punt returner, and that was it.
And it's like, I want to see Mahomes without Kelce.
Yeah.
Because you saw early in the season, that first game when he didn't have him and he looked like dog shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see him without the security blanket and see what he truly has to offer.
He's getting to that. He's getting to that point where it's like the Yankees in the 90s or the Patriots for the last 20 years of just like, I'm not going to ask them to prove it anymore. That's bitten me in the ass so many times. You're great. You know what? You're so great, you don't need to try anymore. How about that? How about you're so wonderful, don't try. Just take a year where you don't try, and we'll all see what happens if you just don't care. Maybe you'll still be great. Maybe you'll be even better. But maybe you'll be terrible, and we can all just have a moment of peace. So anyway, besides that...
And like, I've never rooted against them more than I will this year, because can you imagine if they three-peat, the first team in NFL history to three-peat, they will be more insufferable than the 72 Dolphins, who have to cheers every time somebody doesn't go undefeated, which makes me still to this day cringe every fucking time they bring it up. I'm like, really, guys?
You don't want to see...
That was 50 fucking years ago. Get over yourselves.
You don't want to see Larry Zonka in a bright teal sports coat.
And trust me, this is a little bit of bitterness for the 85 Bears when the Dolphins is the only team that fucking beat them. But then when it happened with the Patriots when they lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants and they cheered,
that is still the greatest fucking moment of the last 30 years of football.
But it's like the Chiefs will become, and their fans will be so insufferable that I can't deal.
Hey, you know what's amazing? 18-1. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That fucking sucks.
It's just one. But that one.
I know.
One, it meant more than anything else.
Okay.
It was the entire season, man.
Let's crush your happiness.
It was a history making.
No,
we don't need to talk about that.
Yes, we do.
It could have been the most historic season in NFL history. Brady had broken all the records.
Yes.
Randy Moss was the greatest receiver God had ever put on this earth. And then there's the one.
Eli Manning.
And that one meant so much to everyone besides Boston.
Eli fucking Manning.
So the Bills are going to suck next year.
They're going to suck so bad.
They're going to be bad. You want to talk about fire sales.
Oh, my God. Their whole fucking defensive backfield is gone.
Our entire everything is gone. We still have some of our edge rushers. Dodson left, which is fine. He and Vaughn have a propensity for beating up people that really shouldn't be touched.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with them leaving. That's fine. I'll miss their production, I guess. And Vaughn hasn't technically left, but he might as well.
Yeah.
Get him and Diggs. You can both get on that bandwagon out of town. If you don't believe in the cause anymore and you're going to be pills and pains in my ass, I don't need you here. You're not helping. Vaughn, you didn't do jack shit for us last year. Diggs, your hands of stone have been so useful to us, where we just feed you the ball constantly. We just always throw it to you, even if you're not fucking open, and then you drop it. Backfield, drop it. Down the field, drop it. Deep bomb, drop it. End zone, drop it. Everywhere you go, drop it. Makes me crazy. Can't do it. So if you're going to get out of here, fine. Just go. Just fucking go.
Here's the question. Do you know if he has a no-trade clause in his contract?
I don't think he
does. How have they not
does.
fucking traded him?
I think that they don't want to trade him because they want to believe that he can be one of the key pieces.
He can't anymore.
No, he's a pain in the ass.
All of the distractions last year starting in the preseason.
Go play with your brother in Dallas.
Yeah.
You guys so clearly want that. Dallas just gutted their wide receiver room. Go to fucking Dallas.
They could easily get a 3 from
Give me a 3. I'll get rid of him. I am so done.
They got to do it.
I'm so done.
They got to do it.
And, we got to trade up in the draft so we can get another receiver of some kind because Kincaid worked out last year. But, here's the other thing. We need so much, Steve.
We need
so much.
Yes.
Because we now don't have any safeties. We have Tyler Rapp.
He gave a thumbs up, people, by the way.
We have... fucking Dane Jackson gone. Hamlin, I think, is still in town, but he's still recovering. Who else did we lose? I guess we have Kyer Elam. Yay.
Yeah.
But Trey White, he's gone. Micah Hyde, he's gone. Jordan Poyer, he's a turncoat.
Yeah.
I had very mixed feelings about Jordan Poyer because he's an amazing player and he plays with a ferocity that I am honestly afraid of, which is why I'm very angry that I now have to play him twice a year, because all I can think of is all the late shots he loved to take on players, where he thought he could get in a quick late shot on somebody and he wouldn't get flagged, and then it was 15 yards the other way, and it's like, thanks, boys. You couldn't just hang on for a second? You couldn't just hold on to that? You had to get it out, huh? Okay, fine, because I didn't need that 15 yards. That wasn't going to help me in any capacity. Nah. Give it to him. Fine. How about your amazing performance against Mac Jones in 50-mile-an-hour winds, where Booger McFarland and all 300 pounds of him is getting blown over in his chair.
Yeah.
And you guys let Mac Jones beat you, having thrown the ball twice. How did you do that? And then you get all pissy when people are like, so what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I bet you don't. And now you're going to play for the Dolphins. I don't want to be mad at you, but what do you want me to be?
The only reason I don't call him a turncoat, same thing happened with Steve McMichael.
Okay.
Steve McMichael, he got cut by the Bears, so he went and played for the Packers. Because I could see, if you get cut by a team that you love and don't want to leave, I don't blame you for saying, I'm going to fucking stick it to you and go to the rival.
No, I agree. That's why I'm angry about the whole thing. I get it.
Because
it makes sense.
And I could see him saying, fuck it. I don't want to, I'm pissed that you cut me.
It makes sense. I understand it.
Yeah.
I'm just extremely unhappy about the whole damn thing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's...
some highlights. Epenesa's staying around. Great. Daquan Jones got cut and then brought back on a new deal. Great. Josh restructured his deal some to free up a little bit of money. Okay. Why did we give Mitchell Trubisky $10 million? What? He's not even a good backup. Why did we give?
You saw what happened in Pittsburgh.
What? Are we a charity now? Because he spent a year here and then he left and now he's come back after 2 years and he's like, oh, it was so hard out there. It was so hard out there for a pimp. Not my problem.
Here's the thing, though. I have a little bit of love always for Mitch Trubisky just because, once again, he went to a team, my team, that from the start destroyed his career.
Yeah.
So for him, it's like, yeah, he was actually a decent backup for Buffalo, though, because he didn't have to play much.
Well, that's the key,
But
isn't
when
it?
he did, he was decent for Buffalo. He's just not I think the problem with him in Pittsburgh is you got to get it out of his head that he's a starter. He is not. He is Charlie Batch. He is a backup. And if you could get his mind around that and say, if you have to go in situations and help us, fine. And I think he's fine for that. He just can't shoulder the whole load of being a starting quarterback.
I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of. It's a guy that came in for Trent Green, or was replaced by Trent Green in the Rams. Tony. Oh, I can't remember his name. Tony something. But he was this consummate backup. And he just went team to team to team, and everybody was like, we can make him a starter. No, nobody could make him a starter. Tony Banks.
Tony Banks, thank you.
Could not find a job anywhere for more than 2 years, rotated all over the league, probably wore almost every jersey, Ryan Fitzpatrick style. And that's Trubisky to me. Just this guy that comes in, and everybody's like, well, he has a lot of natural talent.
Yeah.
Okay. And has he shown any propensity for being able to do this job? Not really. Not in a meaningful way. Not in years. Maybe when he first came into the league, but not since then.
The only thing I think is that him and Josh got along so well. It was like such a good quarterback room.
This is what it is that Josh, clearly this is a friend hire.
Yeah.
This is, let's bring back Mitch.
It sounds like
Mitch
Josh
helped me
needs that
study.
with the whole Diggs thing.
I am just so unimpressed with everything the Bills are doing.
I get it.
I get it. Oh, we've done a lot. We haven't
built.
We haven't built anything, but we've destroyed a whole lot of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so we are back to right now. I'm going to set my expectations at 8 and 9.
Yeah.
We're not even going to have a winning season.
No.
We might get a wild card berth if we're very lucky.
Especially with as stacked as the AFC is now. Like, you're not going to win your division. Miami's going to win your division. Period. End of story.
This cements to me that the story of these Bills, the 2018 to 2024 Bills, will be known as 13 seconds. That is the story of these Bills.
Yep.
Because that was the moment. That 13 seconds that the Chiefs used to drive downfield and then win a coin toss. I don't even fucking care about the coin toss.
Yep.
The whole goddamn coin toss thing we can get into, go back and forth. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
You had 13 seconds to make a stop. You need to make a stop in 13 seconds. They had to go the entire field. You had to make a stop. And you couldn't do it.
And the person you couldn't stop was the person you knew Mahomes was throwing
was going to get the ball.
Fucking Kelsey. It's like, how do you not double, triple team that motherfucker?
So that is the story of these Bills now.
Absolutely.
And I have dreaded it for the last 2 years. I have kept on telling myself, like, I really hope that's not the case. Because if we win a Super Bowl, then nobody fucking cares. You know, it's the F them picks. If you win a Super Bowl, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
We didn't even come close. We never even made it to another. We only made one championship game in that entire run. I don't know that we're going to have another run like that for 2, maybe 3 years.
It could be a while.
There's going to be a significant rebuilding process during which Josh might get hurt, and we might have to start all over again with a whole new crew of people.
And even if he doesn't get hurt, he is getting to that stage in the AFC where he's one of the older quarterbacks. And it's like...
And his game is very aggressive. He plays a run-forward game.
Exactly.
Those quarterbacks, you can chop about 7 years off their career.
Yep.
Because they are incredibly dynamic. They can do a lot in those, that amount of time. But they are not sustainable. It is not a sustainable platform. And, again, I go back to Brett Favre. Great success when he was successful. When he's not successful, you just end up staring at the wall like, what the fuck did he think he saw?
AKA the Jets game to start the season.
Or the game at the end of the season. where he has Diggs in the flat.
Yeah.
He just needs to get the first down. He has Diggs in the flat. He's insisting on throwing it to Diggs all the time, except when it fucking finally could actually help us.
Yeah.
And I love what I can't remember his name now. I'm blanking on his name. Khalil Shakir. But I love him. He's a great receiver. This was not the time. This was not it. Listen. Empirically, you can look at the game tape and say, this was not the time to do that. It's the same as when he decided to lateral the ball. Anytime he decides to lateral the ball. It's never the time, Josh. It's never the time.
No.
And having bad players around him instead of good players to help pick up when he makes mistakes, I don't know that that's going to help him. So now he has what? He has James Cook, he has Kincaid, he has Knox, who's been off and on the last few years with injury. They brought in Curtis Samuel. They have James Cook. They have possible talent, but I still think they're going to get rid of Diggs before the draft.
Yeah, they have to.
Pick up some picks for Diggs. And so now we're going to try and rebuild our entire defensive backfield because our defensive backfield is now Taylor Rapp and a bunch of guys that nobody knows. And that's not great.
And when you're in the same division as the Miami Dolphins, do you think resetting your secondary is a wise idea?
We already struggled with them and their speed to begin with.
Yeah.
And now people are like, oh, maybe you'll bring in Xavier Howard. Oh, yeah, that'll help. That'll help so much. I'm glad that we kept Rasul Douglas.
Yeah.
That's great. But I feel exactly as he did when he tweeted out, sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my reaction too.
Yeah.
And well, no, my reaction was Jesus fucking Christ. So it's going really well.
I love to get like the idea of just how fucking bad everything is going. It was, I can't remember, it was whatever show Shady McCoy's on.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asking him like about, because he was famously a Bills and Eagles. He goes, you can't have a bigger divide on this free agency than what the Eagles have done to what the Bills have done. He goes, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, and it really is. You got to scratch your head and be like, you're building a new stadium that opens next year.
I know you guys had to cut money. I know, right? I know. You were over the salary cap. You had to cut money to get under the salary cap. I understand that. You couldn't get any value for any of these guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Anything? You couldn't get a pick? Anything? You couldn't get anything for Trey White. I get it. Trey has been injured a lot, all right? And both of his Achilles have blown out. I get it. You might not want to keep him and put him on another contract. You can't get anything for Trey? I get it. Micah Hyde has injured his neck so many times he's literally dressed up as Frankenstein for Halloween. I get it. You're not going to get anything for him? Yeah. After all this time, all the work that these guys who have become the face of your franchise, everything that they've done, just nothing?
Yeah.
Just nothing. You're just going to take off the tires and just be like, nah, we can just coast on the rims. I don't think that's a great plan.
I honestly had a thought, and I don't know how you'd feel about this. They seem like they're in rebuild.
Oh, we are fully in rebuild. Well, I think that's one of the whiplash things is that we went from contending to full rebuild.
I was surprised that they didn't just say either Chicago or the Patriots, give us your pick. We will give you Josh Allen and a second-round pick.
Well, they couldn't have traded Josh within division.
Not within division, but you know what? In that top three, because the Commanders are in there too, right?
Yeah.
I bet the Bears might have done it.
The Bears might have done it. I mean, they seem pretty set on getting a new guy.
If you're going to be doing such a tear-down rebuild like this, to the fact that you're stuck with his contract, as much as Josh Allen's great, and I love Josh Allen, he's great for the community, and he's a solid player.
I think that's the thing, is that you can't take him out. He's become a load-bearing candy cane.
He has, but that contract now, it's like you can't rebuild with that contract.
No, you can't.
That's why the only reason the Bears were successful rebuilding is they had fucking nobody.
Yeah.
For years, they had fucking nobody, and they built up draft capital, and they built up all this. So now they're loaded. They're going to get a new quarterback that's not going to cost them shit. And they have a ton of cap space. And it's like, you can't do it with his contract.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Regardless of how he restructured it.
I want, listen, if Josh is going to be making West Her and DirecTV and Paramount Plus commercials, have that be your scapegoat for money, man. Take the Sweetheart deal. Take the Brady deal. Build at home.
I hate that the quarterbacks don't think that. You know,
I never understand
all these guys that are signing these huge deals. It's like, dude,
why?
You are making so much money. Like, look at Kirk Cousins. He's made $300 million in his career. He has won jack shit. And it's like, you can't tell me, Josh, that you're not making tens of millions of dollars in all this other shit you're doing. Take $30 million a year.
I go to Joe Burrow and I say, hey, do you want T. Higgins and Joe Mixon, or do you want an extra zero on your paycheck? Because if you want those guys, you can't have the extra zero. And he chose the extra zero. And I'm like, interesting choice.
Is your ego really that fucking big?
Interesting choice. I would have gone for the two individuals who are going to greatly help you win over an extra zero on your paycheck. I just don't understand that. You can make up that zero in any number of places. I'm sure if you just called Rolex and said, how much would my wrist cost to put on camera?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that they would pay you arm and leg.
How much more am I going to get in all of these ads if I'm a Super Bowl champion?
Exactly.
Look at all the ads for, I can't remember what watch it was that Eli Manning got after he won his Super Bowls, Boulevard or whatever.
Something.
He made millions off of that.
He had so many local commercials in New York when I lived there. So many.
I believe it.
And it's just like, this is where you guys make your money. I get it. You might end up with a Russell Wilson situation where you sign a bunch of TV contracts and then you have a terrible season and nobody wants to see your face and it becomes a joke how many commercials you're supposed to be on. Baker Mayfield had the same thing happen. I get it. So your play on the field has to match your ability to sell yourself off the field. I think that's your biggest concern. So maybe surround yourself with people that will help you look like a better player. I don't understand this.
And not only that, you look at. I know I keep bringing him up for your sanity. You look at Brady when he was doing all of his ads. He did TV ads, but he did a lot of print ads also, which he probably still made a shit ton of money from. So it's like, you don't always have to do TV. You could do the Eli Manning, his watch thing. There were commercials where you never saw his fucking face. You would just hear his voice. But then there were the print ads with him showing the watch.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to diversify. Because, the Baker thing, he went all in with just doing television ads. Yeah. And it's like, fuck, that was dumb.
This is too many.
This is way
too many things.
Way too many.
If you've booked ads with more than two companies, that's too many.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it. But, like, there are ways to make all of this happen.
Yeah.
And for everybody to be happy. You get your extra paycheck. We all get to have the talent we want on the team. You haven't, like, this is the thing that makes me the most angry, is that the offense was the drain on the team last year. And now, as soon as we get into the offseason, they've literally drained the entire defense.
Yeah.
The defense was shot to hell, was full of holes, was held together with the dreams of children and the hopes of genies. Like, it was just not going to be a thing, and it somehow retained its ability to be a thing.
Yeah.
And then the Bills' offense, which was terrible and healthy that whole time, very healthy, very terrible, very off and on the whole time, they come through, they suck everything out of that defense that buoyed them as a team. And now what are we going to have? We're going to have a shitty offense with a handful of weapons, a very cantankerous offensive group in general, and no defense. 8-9, baby.
And I'll be honest, it sucks when you work at Wegmans and the Bills lose in the playoffs. You see your weekend sales go right in the tank, and we're like, please be good.
Everybody's angry.
Oh,
everybody's angry and hurt. And I don't know how that's going to change when the season starts.
I don't think it is.
I
really feel bad.
This might be the end of McDermott's run, honestly. Like, I don't think...
He just signed an extension last year, right? Or was it this year?
So did Bill Belichick.
Well,
he also signed an extension pretty
true.
recently, and look where he's coaching right now.
I don't know. Like I said, the only saving grace is that I really, truly believe, especially with everything going on, that the Jets and the Patriots are going to be kind of dumpster fires this year.
We'll see.
So you only have to really fight against Miami in your division, and unfortunately,
we're going to lose that fight.
Loaded.
So now we have to fight. You're looking at Oakland and LA and Cleveland and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and Indianapolis and Jacksonville and Houston and maybe Tennessee, probably not Tennessee, but maybe Tennessee. So we went from having a one thing where we just had to beat this one team to now we have to beat like over 6 teams to stay relevant, and I just don't see it happening. I'm going to seriously I'm not kidding when I say 8-9. That is my expectation for next year at this point. 8-9.
That's a safe call.
and because I don't want to be hyped for this one. I think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be a lot of bad. All right,
well, ladies
folks.
and gentlemen, that unfortunately we didn't get a chance to talk about the two movies, Marvels and Aquaman. Unfortunately, we will have to push that hopefully 2 weeks away because we need to talk about hopefully Ghostbusters next week. So stay tuned for that. But we hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, NerdPod Generations, episode 131. If you want to know more about us, you can find us on Al's website.
You can find me at jutsomstudios.work under the Bronx Division tab.
Yep.
We have all of our shows there. We got some writing there. We got some fun stuff. And then you can find us on YouTube.
NerdPod
Generations on YouTube.
Look for the awesome new logo designed by...
We have our logo is by Kortney Howell, and our theme is by Brendan Williams and James Connelly.
And we love it.
And we will be back next week. Hopefully. I promise. We didn't get a chance to clean the whole room. There's still a lot of dirt everywhere.
There's so much to do.
But we made a good start.
Yes, we did, sir.
See you later, friends and enemies.
Bye, friends.